biggest challenges of an acquisition is the integration process. It puts a lot of stress on the existing employees to do their day jobs and also integrate the operations of the new entity. By having a dedicated team, it allows us to segregate that workload and dedicate those employees to the integration efforts and allow our existing employees to focus on welcoming the new team to our family, but not necessarily having to do all the work required in an integration. Determining if isolating, creating a separate team is probably unique to every business. I would say that the one common trait to all would be the risk associated with an acquisition. So if it's a big acquisition, then if it were me, I'd be thinking about a dedicated team. If you're doing a lot of small acquisitions, probably the same thing, because that puts a lot of stress on your business. You're investing a lot of money in these acquisitions, so there's risk associated with that. The challenge is, once you take them out of their day-to-day jobs, you have to backfill those people, so you have to have a place for them to land. So you have to balance that risk along with the concerns that the employees are going to have over, hey, if I only do this for 6 months, what happens to me? So you got to have that career path for the employee. And I would say that employees tend to really react positively to being on a team like this. You know, from a career experience, people view it as very, very favorable to their resume. So I think there's some upside to that, but I think you still got to think about pulling talented people out of the day-to-day jobs. What's the impact on those people? You have to balance that against what's the risk to my business, and if I don't do this, what's the potential consequence? As a business leader, you know, I'm always engaged with details and want to make sure things are going smoothly. So it can be difficult, particularly on acquisitions, to step away because, again, the risk associated with it, the cost of the investment. On the flip side, you know, we have a fast-growing business. So if I have good, talented people over there executing, I'm going to let them do their thing and get out of the way. I would say that's not easy for every leader to do, you know, particularly given that acquisitions carry so much risk to the business. So you know, my advice is find good people and let them do their thing, but still keep involved and pay attention, because ultimately the buck stops here, and if it doesn't go well, you know, I'm accountable. But if you, as a leader, want to do everything, it's going to fail, because you can't. There's too many variables associated with acquiring a company. So having good people, letting them do their thing, keeping an eye on it, that's my advice for someone in a similar situation trying to integrate, whether it's one or multiple acquisitions. At a high level, we know our industry. You know, I know our industry. I know our competitors. So we're always kind of listening. We're always talking. The market knows that we're buying right now, so we get phone calls in some regards. We're also, though, looking for specifics in our acquisition process. Every business is different. In our case, it's revenue, it's geography, it's technical expertise. So to the extent that we have specific goals, I may go back to that team and push them to find those opportunities. You know, if you can find someone with this intellectual property, let's go after that group. If you can find someone in this geography, let's go after them. And then in that regard, they'll do research on those specific requests and maybe find opportunities that we didn't know about. But generally, you know, it's my job to frame the goals, to set the objectives, and then allow them to execute on those goals and go find the companies to fill the pipeline. You know, we've got probably 25 target acquisitions in our pipeline right now, and they fit one or more of those criteria, and at least half of them were found by the team out there making phone calls and bubbling up leads. Some advice or thoughts that I have for executives who are running a process like this is, the first thing is you got to know how much capital you have to do it, because you can't put together a plan and execute on a plan without knowing how much capital is available. Once you have that figured out, then you got to put your strategy together, because team is great, but if they don't know where to go and what to look for, what to buy, they're going to get to the end of the road, and then you're going to tell them that's not what I was thinking, that's not the right strategy. So it's incumbent on the leaders to make sure that they set the right tone and they have the capital available to execute on the plan.